Okay, so I will be reading some pages from Beowulf. I'm not going to read the whole reading because let's be real. Like, I don't think that would be beneficial for anybody. But I do want to get you started. I want you to start to feel a little more comfortable with the text. I do understand, although it is translated by Seamus Heaney, he is a more modern poet. He took the Old English, which is right here, and he translated it into what we know as modern English. It's, even though it's modern, okay, I understand that it's not like the easiest thing to read. Okay, so I'm gonna try to like help with that, like, you know, really bring the flavor. And I'm also gonna pause, like I love to do, and maybe talk about a little bit of the content, to which I hope to help you with your homework, and maybe give a little bit of it away. Alrighty, so I'm starting on page 3. So the Spear Danes in days gone by, and the kings who ruled them had courage and greatness. We have heard of those princes' heroic campaigns. Okay, so once again, there's this, we have heard of them, like, right? Their stories, their legends, right? Remember how the poems carried those stories and legends. There was Shield Sheafson, source of many tribes, a wrecker of mead benches, ramping among foes. This terror of the hall troops had come far, a foundling to start with. He would flourish later on as his powers waxed and his worth was proved. In the end, each clan on the outlying coast beyond the Whale Road had yielded to him and began to pay tribute. That was one good king. Okay, so we have Shield Sheafson who's going out here, and he is, you know, kind of showing off his battle skills. He's a mead bench wrecker. He's going through, he's taking places over, but that's how he's proving his worth as a king. That was one good king, right? Somebody who defends, somebody who conquers, somebody who is heroic. Afterwards, a boy child was born to Shield, a cub in the yard, a comfort sent by God to that nation. Okay, it's our first mention of God. Now, I also kind of want to, I swear I'm not going to stop this much during the reading, but remember, when we go into the whole lineage thing, this map on the back is going to really help you. It's a family tree. Okay, so we're talking about God here. Of course, it's our first little sprinkle of God. Remember, this is a pagan nation, so this was just slipped in there by the monk who was translating it originally. He knew what they had told, the long times and troubles they'd come through without a leader. So the Lord of life, aka the divine, the glorious Almighty, made this man renowned. Shield had fathered a famous son. Beow's name was known through the north, and a young prince must be prudent like that, giving freely while his father lives, so that afterwards in age when fighting starts, steadfast companions will stand by him and hold the line. Behavior that's admired is the path to power among people everywhere. Behavior that is admired is the path to power among people everywhere. Okay, so there's some really good hints in here about our Anglo-Saxon values. Shield was thriving when his time came and crossed over into the Lord's keeping. His warrior band did what he bade them. When he laid down the law among the Danes, they shouldered him out to the sea's flood, the chief they revered, who had long ruled them. A ring world prow rode in the harbor, ice-clad, outbound, a craft for a prince. They stretched their beloved lord in his boat, laid out by the mast, amidships, the great ring-giver. Remember, ring-giver is a kenning for king. Far-fetched treasures were piled on top him, and precious gear. I never heard before of a ship so well furnished with bait, tackle, bladed weapons, and coats of mail. The measured treasure was loaded on top of him. It would travel far on out into the ocean's sway. They decked his body no less bountifully with offerings than those first ones did, who cast him away when he was a child, and launched him alone over the waves. And they set a gold standard up high above his head and let him drift to the wind and tide, bewailing him and mourning their loss. No man can tell, no wise man in hall or weathered veteran knows for certain who salvaged that load. So much here. Okay, so we have what is a pagan burial. Okay, this is our pagan burial scene. So they were pushing this king, this fallen king, died of old age, off into the sea, and he's got treasure on his boat, and they're burning the boat as well. And what I find to be a bit of dramatic irony happening here to our time is that no man can tell that like who for certain bared that load. But now, remember in the documentary when Edith Pretty, she finds this whole like thing, like mounds in her backyard, right? And one of those mounds, underneath it is a ship that is a burial site to a king of Beowulf's time. So that is super. It's a little bit of dramatic irony. Okay, he was well regarded and sorry. Then it fell to Beow to keep the forts, right? Beow. When we look at our little, tree, Beow's right here. Shield Chieftain's the one who died. Now we have Beow. Okay. Beow was well regarded and ruled the Danes. I'm on page 7. For a long time after his father took leave of his life on earth. And then his heir, the great half-Dane, held sway for as long as he lived, their elder and warlord. He was 4 times a father, this spider prince. One by one they entered the world, Hrothgar, and good Helga, and a daughter I have heard, who was once Onilla's queen, a balm in bed to the battle-scarred Swede. Okay, so we have more people coming in here. Of course, Beow is 4 times, right? The fortune of war favored Hrothgar. Friends and kinsmen flocked to his ranks, young followers, a force that grew to a mighty army. So his mind turned to hall building. So this is when Herat gets built, okay? He handed down orders for men to work on a great mead hall, meant to be a wonder of the world forever. It would be on his throne, and there he would his throne room, and there he would dispense his God-given goods to young and old, right? Giving treasure. That is something that's very particular to this society. His God-given goods to young and old, but not the common land or people's lives. No, 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 because he's a good king, right? Far and wide throughout the world, I have heard orders for work to adorn that wallstead were sent to many peoples, and soon it stood there, finished and ready, in full view. The Hall of Halls, Herat was the name he had settled on it, whose utterance was law. Nor did he regain, but he doled out rings and torques at the table. The hall towered, its gables wide and high, and awaiting a barbarous burning. That doom abided, but in time it would come. The killer instinct unleashed among in-laws, the bloodlust rampant. Okay, so we have this beautiful hall that's being burned, right? Or not burned. That is this beautiful hall that is burning bright. Okay, so it's like this beautiful, lovely scene. And then we have Grendel, then a powerful demon. Prowler through the dark, nursed a hard grievance. It harrowed him to hear the din of the loud banquet. Okay, and every day in the hall the sharp harp being struck, and a clear song of a skilled poet, telling them with mystery of man's beginnings, how the Almighty had made earth, a gleaming plain, riddled with waters. In his splendor, he set the sun and the moon to be earth's lamplight, lanterns for men, and filled the broad lap of the world with branches. Oh, sorry, it's a little dark in here. The broad lap of the world with branches and leaves and quickened life in every other thing that moved. Okay, so we have the creation story being told here, and this monster cannot handle hearing it. It hurts his ears. He's living next to this huge party hall, and he's like, I can't sleep at night because of this screeching like creation song that's happening. And remember, this is something that the monk, the so-called, anonymous monk who transcribes this tale from an oral story into a written story, adds in. So times were pleasant for the people there until finally one, a fiend out of hell, that's Grendel, began to work his evil in the world. Grendel was the name of this grim demon, haunting the marshes, marauding round the hearth and the desolate fens. He had dwelt for a time in misery among the banished monsters, Cain's clan, whom the Creator had outlawed and condemned as outcasts for the killing of Abel, and the eternal Lord who had exacted a price. Cain got no good from committing that murder because the Almighty made him anathema. And out of the curse his exile there sprang orcs and elves and evil phantoms and giants too, who strove with God. Time and time again, he gave them their reward. Okay, so all of these evil beings and stuff, those started here with Cain and Abel, right? So Cain and Abel, that whole story about the two brothers, right? And the evil brother, Cain, kills Abel. Okay, so Cain has been damned by God for committing that murder, and God made him an anathema, meaning a kind of like a scapegoat or a target of sorts for all the evils to go onto. So that is Grendel. That is, in this case, Cain is Grendel. Then that's another Christian allusion. Okay, I don't think I'm going to go much more here. Okay, yeah, I'm going to just go on to this next page, and then you'll be done. Then you're going to be on your own. Are you feeling good right now? Does this help? I hope so. Okay, so after nightfall, Grendel set out for the lofty house to see how the Danes were settling into it after their drink. So he's like, I'm going to go over there after hours. And there he came upon a company of the best asleep from their feasting, insensible to pain and human sorrows. They're like passed out. Suddenly then the God-cursed brute was creating havoc, greedy and grim. He grabbed 30 men from their resting places and rushed to his lair. Flushed up and inflamed from the raid, blundering back with the butchered corpse. I imagine him eating them. He's cutting them apart. There, then as the dawn brightened and the day broke, Grendel's powers of destruction were plain. Their wassail was over. They wept to heaven and mourned under mourning. Their mighty prince, their storied leader, sat stricken and helpless, humiliated by the loss of his guard, bewildered and stunned, staring aghast the demon's trail in deep distress. He was numb with grief, but got no respite, for one night later, merciless Grendel struck again with more gruesome murders. Malignant by nature, he never showed remorse. It was easy then to meet with a man shifting himself to a safer distance to bed in the boothies. For who could be blind to the evidence of his eyes, the obviousness of that hall watcher's hate? Whoever escaped kept a weathered eye open and moved away. So he is acting a fool. He's destroying a lot of things, and he keeps going back and killing, right? And some people are living to tell the tale. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen next, you say? Well, I think somebody might be coming. Hopefully this helped you start off your homework assignment for this week, one of which is to read and take a look at Anglo-Saxon values that we discussed in the original PowerPoint video. Bye-bye.